Hello and welcome to My Left Ear. I am Carrie FREEMAN, the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear. It is a left-leaning YouTube channel politically, and it is called My Left Ear just coincidentally because I get psychic information through my left ear. So that's the explanation. Here I assemble big events from the week, and I kind of put them into an outline that I think you might find informational, informative, I think is the right word, and interesting. And then I do some quotes, and I talk about good evidence, which is very positive, and there's been a lot going on. I have a Patreon channel you're welcome to check out. It's $8 a month, where I share more personal things with my friends. So here we go. And it's for entertainment purposes only. If anybody wants information on my psychic coaching or hypnotherapy, just email me below and ask me a question. So here we go. Just on a personal note, because I'm going to be wearing hats a little bit more, I ordered 3 new hats. One of which hasn't arrived. Well, none of them have arrived yet. One of them I'm pretty excited about, but I won't describe it. It's not like this. I think it's cool, but we'll hope it fits and looks good. Okay. So this morning I had to run an errand, and I'm wearing my 9/11 hat, which I've had forever, and it's like brand new because I don't wear it all the time. And I was standing in line, and somebody said to me, "Oh, I really love your hat." So I turned around, and it was maybe a lady a little bit older than I. And I said, and she was just smiling, and I said, "Oh, thank you. I don't wear it that often, but thank you." And then she and her husband were kind of smiling at me from afar when they took their seats. And I thought later, I think they mistook it for some kind of a MAGA thing. So it was very interesting how much they were smiling at me and kind of approving of me. And I went, okay, I think they think I'm a Republican. I can't be sure, but it was kind of funny. Anyway, I wanted to bring up, I do the weekly runes on Monday, and I'm not going to go through all of the runes from last week, but the last rune I pulled from last week was Breakthrough, the spiritual warrior. And it signals a major shift or breakthrough, which I wrote at the time, and I said to you, Ukraine. It's a complete transformation in attitude. For some, the transition is so radical that they no longer are able to live the ordinary life. That would be the GOP, as they're crashing more and more. And because the timing is right, the outcome is assured, although not from the present vantage point. So we don't know the how exactly. But radical trust is involved. And it indicates being released from a quagmire. So just interesting, because during the week, it was announced that the FBI is now officially investigating the missing texts of FBI people regarding January 6th. I don't know if you remember, but they went investigating and looking for text amongst FBI members, and they were gone. It was very suspicious, but now they're investigating it. All right, that was this week. Adam Schiff was censored publicly in the House, and here's what's great about it. It ensures him to become the next senator in California. He's running for senator, so is Katie Porter, and I love Katie Porter. But Adam Schiff seems to be a terrible threat to the GOP. Trump hates him. And so they thought, we're going to get him. We don't like what he's talking about. We don't like what he's investigating. We're going to kick him out and censor him. And I promise you, and my left ear promises you, that is giving him the Senate seat. I made a decision right there. Oh, I'm voting for Adam Schiff, and not because I have anything negative on Katie Porter. I think she's fantastic, so hear me loud and clear. But this is Adam Schiff's time, and it backfired on the GOP. Now, yesterday, Friday, Ukraine, huge. The Wagner Group, which is this offshoot of the Russian army, and it's run by this criminal, Prigozhin. You might be able to help me with this, you know, Russian names. Prigozhin. Prigozhin. He's got, now he's kind of turning on Russia and Putin. Used to be friends with Putin. He's very wealthy. And now he's got troops heading to Moscow. And what it does is it takes Putin's been kind of missing. So now all of a sudden he shows up with this, with his opposition in Russia, and he's talking, but it's like people are wondering if there's going to be a coup in Russia. It's too soon to know. This just started yesterday, and there could be a lot of misinformation that's going on, but it's really big, and I wanted to acknowledge it, and it pulls Putin's attention away from Ukraine, and so it's very good for Ukraine. This is my left ear, that Ukraine gets to prepare for battle and making progress, and it just looks very interesting. We must keep a close eye on this situation. Now, this Prigozhin, I'm just going to say Prigozhin because it's easier to say for me, so forgive me. He's like a psychopath criminal, and he was in jail for a long time, became friends with Putin, and now he's breaking free because the Russian army is so terrible, and he might be engaging the criminals and convicts that have been pulled out of jail to fight. So we must keep an eye, and I did pull a rune on it, so we'll get to it. Now, there was something reported on Twitter, and again, I'm going to tell you, but I think we have to wait. I think we have to wait and see. So here's what the tweet said. In a deal brokered by Belarus President of Lukashenko, Wagner chief Prigozhin agrees to turn back from Moscow and return to bases to avoid bloodshed. Well, right now, my left ear is suspicious. He does not strike me as a guy who does that honestly. In exchange for Putin guaranteeing his troops and his security. I don't believe Putin guarantees that to anybody because he's such a murderer. So allegedly, this potential coup is paused. And for now, Putin is vulnerable. My left ear, I wrote notes. My left ear, I don't trust this deal. I think Putin wants Prigozhin dead. And there's another possibility, and a few other people are kind of thinking this also, that Putin and his old friend Prigozhin got together and made a deal so that Putin can withdraw from Ukraine without the shame. And the person who wrote that suggestion on Twitter says, I must be crazy. And I said, not necessarily. This feels entirely positive, that we're kind of being manipulated and punked so that Putin can get out without losing face. And here's another, we'll see. This thing is 2 days old, so one has to be careful. But I did ask the runes, is Ukraine strengthened by an internal Russian conflict? And I got the blank rune, unknowable, And I put in quotes, like I put in brackets, that's what I do. It's too soon and too new, which I just pretty much told you. But blank is the end and blank is the beginning. It implies total trust and should be taken as exciting evidence of your immediate contact with your own true destiny. And that is for Ukraine, your own true destiny. Evidence, exciting evidence. It calls for no less than an act of courage, beginning to exercise control over what has not yet taken shape, and that makes sense too. And it calls for an act of courage and faith, because it's not going to happen overnight. Then I got breakthrough. Signals a major shift or breakthrough and a complete transformation. And what would be a complete transformation? It would be Ukraine making giant strides and taking back territory and pushing the Russians out. The outcome is, like I said before when I got breakthrough, the outcome is assured, but not from the current vantage point. So we kind of can't know the how. And then the last I got was journey. And journey refers to two sides, two elements, with the ultimate union that comes at the end of a journey. It advises be content to wait and keep removing resistances. So that two elements, which comes up again in my next runes question, feels like there is some kind of little partnering that could be happening between Prigozhin and Putin to have this end. But again, it's brand new. But I'm giving you some preview runes, all right? Now the next rune, which is my last one about Ukraine and the whole situation and the Russians, I asked, will Russian convicts that were let out to fight and alienated Russian troops because they're miserable, will they join forces with Wagner, the Prigozhin guy? Or with Putin to help him get out of Ukraine, which, as I mentioned to you. Well, here's what's interesting. I got the rune of partnership twice. And that's really a big deal when that happens. Partnership is just a giant X and it doesn't have a reverse. So it indicates that a partnership in some form is at hand. And it says, do not collapse into that union. Remain separate and whole. It also signals a union with the higher self. So it's hard to say who's questioning things. Putin or Prigozhin don't seem like the type to question things, but it could be a union with the higher self for the Ukrainian people. I mean, they're extraordinary and they're spiritual and dedicated. Then I got signals. Be aware that thieves and scoundrels can be the bearers of wisdom. And we know who the thieves and scoundrels are. Expect the unexpected. We might be surprised. It is always a call to new life. And then I got partnership again. Really interesting. So let's keep an eye out for partnership, two people coming together in this messy Russian situation. And I did kind of write a little note. Will Prigozhin, I guess is his name, it's on my next sheet. Will he fall out of a window? Will he get a poison dart? That's what came to me. And now we're coming to where we've had this 1 year anniversary of the Dobbs decision being overturned and losing choice in many, many states. And right now, the GOP want to make a federal ban on abortion, federal, which means every state. So I got the rune of flow reversed. These runes about reinstalling choice are not great right now. and I'm going to come back to them, but I have to be honest and share with you. So to this question, I picked 2 runes. This is a counsel against overreach, and that is the message, I think, to the Democrats. This is a warning against trying to exceed your own strength, which they don't have right now, unfortunately, or operate beyond the powers you have been funded to date, and that's to date, right now. The Democrats, which is me, which is probably you, we don't have the leverage right now. Now, I had asked in the next 3 years, and then I got the rune of protection, and it says control of emotions is at issue here during times of transition and acceleration, which we are in, because the cases against Trump are accelerating and they're creating transition. Do not collapse into your emotions. So we must stay grounded and a little detached, but still passionate, but a little detached. New opportunities and challenges are typical. The challenge may be bigger than anticipated. Timely right action is essential. And you know, we don't really know what's going to happen with the Supreme Court. I keep thinking Clarence Thomas may collapse. And then that creates an opening. We're going to see. And now Alito is in trouble, and they just feel like they've turned in. Well, I think I get to this in a minute, but they just feel like the Supreme Court is losing any credibility that they've had. They look like a criminal operation. Now, in terms of choice and all the stories across the United States, thank God I'm in a state where abortion is available. I just wrote the result of what the GOP have done, what these radicals have done with choice. I don't really like to say abortion that much because it's really just about choice. It's not about the actual surgery or procedure. It's about you're in charge of your body and I'm in charge of my body. And if you don't believe in abortion, don't get one. To me, that's it. But women are being told you're not in charge of your body. And then they have to travel. And what cost is that? So I wrote, this is dark, so I just want to warn you. Suicides, birthing delivery deaths. Women will die during childbirth. Abandoned infants. And a shortage of obstetricians and gynecologists because people aren't going to major in that when they go to medical school. And some of these doctors may totally leave Texas, totally leave Mississippi and other states that are doing this. And then incarceration of the educated and the innocent. You know, like some esteemed doctor goes to prison for life for helping a woman. So it's very heavy. It really weighs on me. And like I said, in addition, the GOP are now shouting from the rooftops that they want a federal ban on choice. What are they thinking? What are they thinking before an election? Is that a viable platform? I think not. And I don't think those people have a frontal lobe or executive function, which helps you anticipate problems in the future, plan, well, if I do this, this could happen. And that just doesn't seem to be operating with the GOP. All right. Now I'm going to move on to this unspeakable tragedy with that mini submarine going down to see the Titanic. I did not write about this on Twitter because there are grieving families and I don't want to add to anything, but I want to share this with you. Here's where I went, okay? And it may be because I've worked a lot in family systems and I've learned a lot about how people play different roles in a family system, but nobody listened to the teenage boy who was completely terrified of taking this journey with his father. And he did it because it was Father's Day, so he felt guilty. And he told people. People in his family knew, his sister knew, and they used words like didn't want to go. They didn't say didn't want to go, a little bit afraid. They went terrified, okay? And it seems to me, and I could be wrong, this is an assumption, we have to be careful. Did no one in the family say to him, you don't have to go. This is supposed to be fun. You don't have to go if you feel that way. We don't want to put you through that. It's okay. You and your dad can go play golf next week. It doesn't seem like anybody did. Now, here's where the family system comes in. I don't know, nobody knows the power that the father had in the family. We know he was like a millionaire or billionaire. And if he ruled that family with, a fist, we don't know that. And maybe the mother was even afraid to talk to her husband. This is what I mean by the family system. We don't know what went on in that family system. And why didn't the father register his son's terror? We don't know. But I'll tell you weird. A friend of theirs, male friend, gave up his 2 seats for the man and his son who perished. And it's kind of like the person who's in the airport and is running to catch a plane that he misses and the plane crashes. It's some kind of odd destiny that cannot be explained. But I've been completely sad about it. And it's just, it's hard to find words for this thing. But I do want to tell you, if you're at all interested, Titanic, the movie Titanic, director James Cameron is a very technical, brilliant guy. And he's an expert diver that's made countless, has been taken down to the Titanic, then gone out and swam. And he's like a master diver. And he made a lot of comments about what happened in this tragedy and how quickly he understood that this sub was gone. And it's just Google it. It's he has very interesting things to say, very credible things to say. So I wanted to mention that. What happened to common sense? What happened to common sense? Even the guy who invented this said, well, I'm not that worried about safety. He's gone. All right, big breath, on to the next. Good evidence. There's an author, a female author, who I think is pretty successful, who reported this on Twitter that evidently she goes to the same grocery store and got talkative with her checker, a woman who loves old movies and the movie channel, and loves the Thin Man series, which is from the 40s. If you've never seen a Thin Man episode, they're just really cool movies about a couple named Nick and Nora Charles, and they solve crimes and mysteries, played by movie stars Myrna Loy and William Powell. So the woman bought her a box set of the Thin Man just as a nice gesture. And I can only imagine this checker just being, oh my God, because there were a lot of them. So the box set is probably pretty big. I think there might have been 6 or 7 Thin Man. And I thought, kindness on the street, kindness on the street. So thoughtful of this author. And then yesterday, I went into See's Candy because I wanted to buy what I call turtles. They call them cups. And 2 cups to a little, 2 cups to a little container. And they gave them to me for free. Plus the bonus, which was dark chocolate caramel chew, for free. She said, no, just take these as samples. And I went, what a nice gesture. What a nice day. All right. So now this isn't actually good evidence, but it's somewhat amusing, a little bit painful, but I call it payback, okay? It just it kind of made me giggle. All right, here's the sad part. a young woman was engaged, and the wedding was set. She had her dress, and about maybe 3-4 days before the wedding, she found out that her fiance had been cheating with more than one woman. And she got a hold of the texts. What did she do? She went through with the wedding to a point, and when they were taking their vows, and I guess her husband spoke first. I don't know what the how it's done really, but he did, and then it was her turn. And what she did was she brought out all the texts that her husband sent to other women and read them out loud to everybody at the wedding and humiliated him. I thought, that was creative. I don't know how she got through it, because if it had been me, I probably would have been crying for days and days and days, and it would have been hard for me to keep my mouth shut. But she remained self-contained and did that, and for some reason I'm sharing it with you because it really caught my attention. And he's a snake. He's a snake, whoever he is. All right, quotes. Now the next quote I'm going to share with you, I want you to think of SCOTUS, all right, the Supreme Court, because now Alito is a pig, Clarence Thomas is a pig, Alito is a pig, and they're all doing all kinds of terrible, making terrible choices and taking gifts and money and not reporting it, and they're scum. They're scum. So this is the quote by Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine was born in 1737. He was an English-born American founding father, you may already know this, political activist, philosopher, political theorist, and revolutionary. He authored a book called Common Sense in 1776 and The American Crisis. We're having one right now. Two of the most influential pamphlets at the start of the American Revolution. Here's the simple quote. A body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody ought not to be trusted by anybody. How's that for psychic, Thomas Paine, right? Wow. And then the second quote is not political, it's more personal, because it's something that maybe you've experienced in friendships or I've experienced in myself, but it's by Lillian Hellman, who a famous playwright, author, who wrote The Children's Hour and so many other, I can't think of, I didn't write her credits down, but she's so famous. Movies have been made from her books and her plays. And she wrote something very simple about relationships. Sometimes people change and forget to tell each other. Have you ever experienced that? Sometimes people change and forget to tell each other. I think that's true. And I think when you're friends with someone, it's hard to notice that they're changing. And if you're changing, you want people to notice, but that doesn't always happen. So that's it. I went really long last week, so I just want to make this just a little bit more concise. And I will be doing the weekly runes on Monday. So I'll see you Monday, and we'll see what happens over the weekend. I might throw in some extra things there. So I want to say have a good weekend. Make peace. Make good memories. Be kind. Give somebody a piece of candy. Okay, my friends. I just want to share with you, I got some extraordinarily loving messages this past week, and my heart went ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. And I'm going to answer a few things. I plan to do that. Finishing my taxes still, but today's the day. Anyway, love you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.